Hello everyone. I look different because I'm trying to gain weight. So today I never watched Demon Slayer either, but today we're gonna be reacting to Demon Slayer Affection AU Lore Explained. And since I never watched Demon Slayer, I'm gonna watch this video and get into the lore. Anyway, so let's check this out. But first, it is spookies time. Every single time it's spooky time, I react to a bunch of big spooky and scary stuff. Anyways, let's react. 3, 2, 1.
If you guys are Demon Slayer fans like me, I'm
No.
sure most of you are hyped to see that a new movie will be dropping in the US soon and is already out in Japan, if I'm not mistaken. And as a manga reader, trust me when I say that this next season is going to be fire. Now, after watching the Demon Slayer trailer and reading up on the new movie, I was curious to see if anybody had made a Demon Slayer Infection AU, and I was pleasantly surprised to see this creator on TikTok, who I'm just going to call Kick for simplicity, has made one. I was surprised because if you know Demon Slayer, it's already kind of an Infection AU in a way. The main villain in the show is named Muzan, and he basically has the power to turn any human into a demon, and has been doing it for about 1,000 years, meaning that he's created so many demons that it's actually hard to pinpoint the number that are roaming around. And this is actually why the Demon Slayer Corp came about in the first place. They were created not only to destroy Muzan, but also to get rid of any demon spawns that he's created, while also protecting humanity, because as you know, the demons actually feed on humans. But what I like about this AU is that they add an interesting twist to the story. Now, this AU takes place after the Demon Slayers take out Muzan, but unlike in the manga, everybody actually survives the battle. And of course, after this battle is done, the people finally think that they're going to be able to take a break and just live a normal life. But this is what I find interesting. It seems like once Muzan and by proxy the demons die, other things are released or able to come back into the world. And the first thing that we see is this virus seep into the area and slowly start to spread out. And while they don't actually know a lot about the virus at the moment, they do know that even dead people can be infected by it. Tanjiro and the Love Hashira actually learned this when they found Rengoku walking around the forest looking like a zombie, which makes sense considering that at this point he's been dead for at least a year. But luckily in this weakened body, it doesn't look like he's going to actually be able to do anything to anyone. And while at this point in the series, the two of them could probably beat Rengoku pretty easily, it would still be devastating for them to have to fight him because he's kind of like a mentor to both of them. Next, we get to see the status sheet for all our survivors, and the first is going to be Mitsuri, who is still in perfect health, although she did lose her hair in the fight against Muzan. We then have the Miss Hashira, who is a little beat up, but is still in good health as well. I think he's mostly just demoralized because right after having to deal with all those demons, now there's another virus that's taking people over. Giyu is the first person that we see with real injuries. Apparently, he was attacked by an infected person and lost an eye in the process, although it doesn't seem to be showing signs of infection, which may mean that the virus doesn't spread through touch. Shinobu, while being mostly healthy, has been working herself day and night trying to come up with an antidote for the other Hashiras and also the general public. But as you can tell by her face, she is burning the candle at both ends and will likely burn out if she doesn't get some rest. But since she's the only person that's really good with poisons at this point, she probably feels obligated to keep working. And while some of you may be asking why Tengen isn't helping her, just because he has resistance to poison doesn't mean that he actually can work with them or like make an antidote. I think those are two different skill sets. Next we see Tanjiro, and it seems like he is mostly focused on watching out for his sister because she was already infected with the demon virus and he doesn't want to see her get infected again with whatever is going on now. Zenitsu is also with them looking after Nezuko as well because we all know that he has a crush on her, and also he's protected Nezuko before, so it's not really surprising to see him doing it again. And Nosuke seems to be doing his own thing, just wandering around in the woods, and I'm really not surprised to see that. The one good piece of news with him, though, is that he has agreed to take whatever medicine Shinobu makes just to prevent him from getting infected. And him agreeing to this is kind of a big deal, because you remember from the show, Nosuke actually has natural resistances against most like viruses and diseases and whatnot, but I don't think whatever's happening now would count for that. We also get to see that Genya and his brother are both still alive and healthy, and more importantly, the two of them have made peace with each other. Some of you may remember that in the most recent season, the Wind Hashira was willing to cripple his little brother to keep him from fighting demons. So it's good to see that they are actually friendly again. We get to see Tengen next, and I actually really feel bad for him because he was finally ready to retire and just spend some time with his wives, only for another virus to pop up and force him to continue fighting. Next, we see that Kanao and Nezuko are both in perfect health, although they are worried for all their friends. Lastly, we have the Stone Hashira and the Snake Hashira, and I believe their names are Gyome and Omanai. And luckily, both of these guys are also healthy, meaning that at least for now, the non-infected side has some really powerful people. In the next part of the series, it looked like Shinobu was able to come up with some type of vaccine that should help people resist the virus. So she ends up calling Tanjiro over to help her deliver the vaccines to other Hashiras and their friends so that she can keep working on more batches for the general population as well. And the next chapter just shows him delivering the vaccines to different people at the base. And while most people look pretty normal, I did find it strange that Kanao looks so distressed here, almost as if she's hiding something. After covering all the people at the Butterfly Mansion, we then see Tanjiro goes to find the other Hashira to give them their vaccines. But while that's happening, we also get this image of the infected Rengoku in this padded room, and it would seem that someone is running tests on him, obviously trying.
What is that? What is that? What? No, what is that thing? Yo, what did they do to Rengoku? What did they do to him?
To learn whatever they can about the virus. The thing that really caught my attention is that the status says alive, which may imply that this virus has the ability to bring the dead back to life in a way. After running around and delivering vaccines to everyone, Tanjiro finally got the chance to get some sleep. While he was resting, we see that the Love Hashira goes missing. When he wakes up, Genya is already out looking for her. And even though the pair of them search all day, they are unable to find even a trace of her. That is until we cut over to Shinobu and she hears a sound coming from outside. And being curious, she decides to go take a look. Only to find the Love Hashira looking absolutely demonic. When I freeze the image here, we can see that her eyes are blood red and most of the skin around her mouth is gone. And for some reason, she's also missing her nose, as if this virus makes people start to decay. And
she's gone. She's gone. Con Candy Girl is gone. R.I.P. Con Candy Girl.
Next chapter, we see that Shinobu survived her encounter with the Love Hashira, but she loses her arm in the process. And surprisingly, she doesn't seem too concerned with the loss. Instead, being more worried about Kanao, who turns out has been bitten by one of the infected. And to make matters worse, it wasn't just a random infected, but rather one of the girls that also work at the Butterfly Mansion, specifically Aoi.
Aoi. What the
And while it seems like Kanao has been able to slow down the infection with her breathing techniques, it still spread pretty deep into her body, and Shinobu feels like the vaccine may no longer work on her. Now, what I find odd here is that Tanjiro went and gave the vaccine to everyone personally, so it doesn't make sense that Kanao doesn't take it, unless, of course, she's hiding something from us. Now, later that night, we see Tanjiro goes to meet with Shinobu, and we learn that she cut off her arm to stop the infection from spreading, which we all could have guessed. But we also learned that Shinobu managed to catch Mizuri, and she placed her in a room for research.
Seeing how she is
and at the moment, Shinobu has left Obanai watching over the Love Hashira. And when Tanjiro and Shinobu goes to check on them, this is what they see. And for those of you that may not know, Obanai and the Love Hashira are in love, funny enough. And instead of losing her to the infection, he would rather become a zombie with her. Put what you think down in the comments. Was this romantic from the Snake Hashira, or did he basically just sacrifice himself for nothing?
Not Snake Guy.
In the next chapter, we see Tanjiro goes to check on Kanao, only to see that she's missing. And when he checks in with Shinobu, she tells him that Kanao is gone, but doesn't give any detail. What we do learn, though, is that Aoi wasn't attacked by any infected, but still managed to get the virus, which may imply that this infection is airborne and can infect weaker people that way. And once Tanjiro hears this, he immediately goes to check on his sister, but before he can see her, Zenitsu stops him and says that she's sleeping and shouldn't be disturbed, which is super sketchy to me. Like, how are you going to stop me from seeing my own sister? But we all know that Tanjiro is very trusting, and especially of Zenitsu, so he doesn't question it, and he just goes to check on the Nosuke, who of course is still just doing his own thing out in the woods, and it's completely fine. Later that night, when Tanjiro finally returns to the Butterfly Mansion, he notices that Shinobu is no longer there, and to make matters worse, we get to see Nezuko. And while she is resting, it seems to be because she's sick. And this kind of confirms that Zenitsu is trying to keep this fact away from Tanjiro for some reason. In the next chapter, we get to see Shinobu is walking around in the town proper when she runs into the Water Hashira, who seems to be out to check on her. But we don't really get any information as to why she left the mansion without telling anybody. and more importantly, without
pretty,
leaving any of the vaccine for people to use. And we said this is definitely an issue when Tanjiro goes to check Shinobu's room again to see if she's returned, only to find Zenitsu there looking for medicine. And of course, at this point, Tanjiro doesn't know that the medicine is for his sister. The next day is where things start to really get weird. We see that Shinobu is back, and she tells Tanjiro that Muchiro and Genya have been infected. But luckily, the Stone Hashira is there to help catch them and place them inside the lab. And then Tanjiro says that they need to figure out where this infection came from, and Shinobu responds by saying that he will know soon enough. And when Tanjiro asks what she means by that, we see that she kind of just brushes off the comment, saying that it means nothing. But Tanjiro isn't an idiot, and he can't seem to get that comment out of his head, and it bothers him for the next few days.
What are they doing?
But he's brought out of those thoughts when his sister arrives. Although their conversation is short because Tanjiro has a bad feeling about Shinobu and decides to rush to her room to have a word with her, only to find out that at this point, all the infected that were locked in a lab have died. And to make matters even worse, the Stone Hashira even ended up getting infected as well, which is super fishy considering that he is by far the strongest Hashira. And Tanjiro picks up on this as well, asking Shinobu why she's acting so weird and why so many people are dying around her. We then see Shinobu agree to tell him what's going on as long as he agrees to follow her out into the woods, which of course is a red flag. But Tanjiro, being the good-natured kid that he is, he goes out into the dark, creepy woods
you are
with
officially
her.
Stupid.
After walking fairly deep into the wood, Tanjiro sees a body laying by a tree, completely mutilated. And we find out that this is actually Shinobu's body. And laying right...
What the fuck? What? No, I'm done. What is that? What?
Next to it is some type of potion. And when Tanjiro turns back around, he sees this creature with a bloody face.
Oh my god, no. Is that beautiful? Beautiful, what happened to you?
And bloodshot eyes looking at him instead of his friend, the insect Hashira. And then we learn that this creature is a type of doppelganger that was able to take the form of Shinobu after taking her life. And the doppelganger ended up targeting her because she had found a cure to the infection, which was also created by this doppelganger. And since we can assume that Shinobu has been gone for quite some time, that may explain why those vaccines weren't actually keeping people from being infected. The doppelganger was likely giving people fake vaccines so that they would think that they were getting healthy or immune to the virus, only to fall victim to it later. And while at first I thought the doppelganger was going to go ahead and take out Tanjiro because he obviously knows her secret now, but then we see Zenitsu come out of the forest. And while I thought that he was going to use, Yo,
Simp coming clutch. You got the Simp. Maybe you aren't Simp, but come on. You got the Simp. Dude, the Simp.
His signature first form ability, he instead pulls out a pistol. Don't ask me why he doesn't use his sword technique because I don't have an answer for it. But if we're being honest, I mean, a gun is pretty powerful as well, so it seems to get the job done. And we see this in the next scene when the boys are standing over the doppelganger in shock, still finding it hard to believe that they didn't realize this creature wasn't actually Shinobu. Especially considering that Tanjiro has such a strong sense of smell. This implies that the doppelganger can completely take somebody's form, even their scent. Zenitsu also confirms that this creature did in fact start the virus, and we can assume that with his superior hearing, maybe he overheard her talking about the plan, although he still doesn't understand how she was able to do it. Now, the only real mistake that the boys make here is that they decide to leave the body of the doppelganger here and deal with it tomorrow. Now, if it was me, I would have tied her up and taken her back to the lab that they already have set up. Or at the very least, gave the doppelganger the double tap just to make sure that she was actually out of here. And just as I expected, as soon as the doppelganger hears the boys leaving, her eyes shoot over to look at them, showing that she is definitely not dead. But if that wasn't bad enough, we then hear someone say, "It's been a while since you've betrayed me." And then we see this tall, shadow-like figure standing over the doppelganger.
What is that?
And we learn that this creature is called Nyx, I believe is how you pronounce it, and it's supposed to be dead. But just like with the doppelganger, it seems like the death of Muzan may have made way for some of these creatures who had to lie dormant when the demons were running around to have the opportunity to rise up again. And to make matters even worse, it looks like she's taken on Shinobu's dead sister's body. And this is bad because I believe that woman was very powerful in her own right. If I remember correctly, she may have even been at the Hashira level. And it seems like this Nyx creature is out to destroy the rest of the Demon Slayer Corps. and it's going to force this doppelganger to help her In the next chapter, we get confirmation of this alliance when we see Nick say that if the doppelganger doesn't help her, she's going to go ahead and take her out along with the rest of the Hashira and the Demon Slayers. And while I don't think that this creature Nyx is based on the Greek goddess by the same name, it does seem like she has some type of powers dealing with darkness, which may make her a real threat here. It may also be why the doppelganger seems to be so willing to submit to her. But even though it looks like they'll work together, you can tell that they are definitely not friends, and this Nyx character may be a bit reckless. At the end of their conversation, we see the doppelganger say that she hears something, and then we see Zenitsu walking through the woods. And this part right here is kind of silly to me. Apparently, after Tanjiro and Zenitsu got back to the mansion, they end up meeting up with Nezuko, and at this point, she still doesn't know how many people have actually gotten infected. Tanjiro ends up telling Zenitsu to go back out into the woods and to find the doppelganger's body because it may still be alive. And this right here is just crazy to me because they should have brought the body with them in the first place.
Twinks,
and to put a point on this, in the next scene, we see Tanjiro and his sister sitting inside the butterfly mansion, and Nezuko notices that Zenitsu still hasn't come back. So Tanjiro decides that he's going to go out and actually look for him. Only for us to cut back over to a now beaten and battered Zenitsu, who we can assume was jumped by the pair here. The scary part about this is that Zenitsu has some crazy good hearing, so if the pair of them were actually able to sneak up on him, they are either very sneaky or the creator has nerfed some of these characters to move the story along. We also get this brief scene here where Nyx rips off the doppelganger's face, further solidifying that this pair are flimsy allies at best. This chapter then ends with Zenitsu waking up in the medical wing of the Butterfly Mansion, so we can assume that Tanjiro was able to get him back home safely. In the next chapter, we see that Nezuko goes to check on Zenitsu and seems to be happy that her brother isn't around. And then she goes to sneak out of the mansion, and while she's sneaking around outside, she runs to Kanao, who, if you remember, was bitten many days ago and now is fully infected. And when Nezuko sees this, she makes a run for it. And in typical 1990 horror movie fashion, she trips on a rock. But before Kanao can actually lunge at her, we see a blade pierce her back, and the water Hashira is standing over her, looking fully healed, finally. Showcasing that the antidote that Tanjiro and Zenitsu found on Shinobu's body was likely the real cure and worked flawlessly. Now, the thing that confuses me is that we don't get to know why Nezuko was even outside to begin with, but we do get to see Inosuke again. And it seems like the reason that he's been missing for so long is that he ended up getting lost in the woods and ended up being taken in by some old lady. And honestly, I just assumed that he was going to be infected at this point. So seeing that he's still alive and well is actually really good. After that, we see Gil said that they need to get back to the mansion because Tanjiro has found something. And he also made sure to pick up Kanao because he believes that they still may be able to actually cure. And in the final chapter, we see that Kanao seems to be okay. She's all wrapped up and one of her arms is definitely gone, probably the one that was bitten, but she is alive, so apparently something did work. And after sitting with her for a while, it seems like Nezuko gets curious to see what her brother and Giyu are up to. And when we switch over to their perspective, we see DXI, or AKA the doppelganger. DXI. And I'm assuming this is like a way to try to gain their trust, but we know as the viewers that this is probably just a trap because she's working with Nyx. As of right now, though, we're left on a bit of a cliffhanger. But all in all, I have to say that this Infection AU is a little bit better than I thought it was going to be. I was really curious for how they were going to make an Infection AU in a universe that already has an infection in it, technically. Well, and I think the twist that we see here is pretty interesting. I'm hoping that the creator continues this because I really want to see how it ends. And I also hope that they reveal what this Nyx character is. But with that being said, if you enjoyed this video, check out this video on the screen here. Put your suggestions in the comments of what you want to see next. And we will see you tomorrow with another video. Peace, peace.
Okay, that was certainly something. So that was Demon Slayer Affection AU Lore Explained. That was a pretty long video. If you guys enjoyed, I really appreciate if you like. Yes, have I learned anything from Demon Slayer? No, I have not learned anything at all. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you all next time. Peace. Bye, guys. Wait, come on.